Mr. Superintendent, there we go. Now we see you, and we will get started. We have our entire panel. Apologize for the delay. We got our panel together, and we are ready to get started with our media briefing. I will open the meeting by saying this, I think, is the 6th week in a row that we've done these brief media availabilities. We're doing this one at the conclusion of the first week when many of our 6th through 12th grade students have been in classrooms for the first time this school year. And we'll have more to say about that shortly during the meeting. But as a result, we've kind of gone through our period of readiness, and now we've approached the conclusion of that first week with those students in person. It is unlikely that we continue a weekly media briefing schedule for the foreseeable future, but we will continue to do these as topics arise and as we need to do it. We certainly want to make sure that we continue to offer this level of transparency and insight into the inner workings of CMS. And so we appreciate all of those who have attended all of these briefings, and we will continue to be forthcoming with information. With that, I'll just reiterate the ground rules. As we finish the opening statements, we'll open things up for questions, and we'll go through about 2:35 today and have about half an hour in the total session. One question per member per media outlet. Raise your hands in the attendance feed, the participant feature, and I will call one journalist at a time to ask a question. With that, I'll turn it over to Superintendent Winston for some opening remarks, and then we'll have our question session.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Happy Friday to everyone. Good afternoon. I want to welcome you to our media briefing. Several members of our district leadership team are here again today to provide an update or answer any questions that you all may have. And I just want to thank you all once again for taking time out to join us this afternoon. So as of today, we have successfully concluded 2 weeks of in-person learning this year for our students in grades pre-K through 13, with many in grades 6 through 13 attending class in person for the first time this school year. We've got approximately 57,000 students who were engaged in in-person learning this week with our talented teachers, our counselors and principals. In addition, the hardworking transportation, custodial, and nutrition staff have been there to ensure our students are safe and ready to learn. As I visited middle and high schools on Monday, I was extremely pleased to see the smiling faces and carpool lines in the hallways and in the classrooms for the first time this school year. And I want to note that our students are just fabulous. They're just outstanding. And so they're extremely resilient, as are our teachers. It was one of many firsts. This was their very first time in new school building for our students in 6th and 9th grades. This was their first time meeting their classmates and teachers and staff in person. And it was their first time navigating the cafeteria line, an experience we all should have. I think we can all reflect on our first day of walking into a new middle or high school and the excitement and nerves that accompanied that moment. And I want to thank all of our staff who did an amazing job to make all in-person students feel welcome and safe. And after months of hard work and preparation, it was truly rewarding to invite so many students back into our buildings. And so I also want to thank the parents and families of the students for getting your child to school on time, completing daily screeners, and reminding them to wear their face coverings and adhere to safety protocols. We are all in this together. I know I've said that many times, but I want to repeat that again. We're all in this together, and I'm encouraged as the community spread continues to decrease while access to the COVID-19 vaccine increases. However, as I've said repeatedly, we cannot let our guards down. It is our individual responsibility to help slow the spread of the virus by adhering to the 3 W's. And I think you all know them by now, but I'm going to repeat them one more time. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and wait 6 feet to maintain social distance. Now, I want to address the difficult decision that we announced at the Board of Education meeting on Tuesday, and that was to temporarily close a large portion of our after-school enrichment program sites. The toughest decision I must make in leading the district are personnel decisions. Whether a decision affects one person or more of the 19,000 dedicated CMS staff, let me assure you that we explore every possible solution before reaching a conclusion like this. For many years, the ASAP program has provided valuable after-school and before-school childcare and enrichment for families. And I know that firsthand because I'm one of those families. However, due to decreased demand, we must close many of these ASAP sites. And at this time, our team is working to connect families that are impacted with the community partners who currently have openings, as well as coordinating transitions from sites that are closing to those 25 ASAP sites that will remain open through the end of the school year. Now, in addition, we are focused on helping the temporarily displaced ASAP staff connect to resources and encouraging them to apply for the many North Carolina Ed Corps positions, substitute teaching, and transportation roles in our district. This pandemic has disrupted us in many ways and may continue to have long-term consequences. And so as we move forward, we will continue to evaluate ASAP site reopenings for the 2021-2022 school year and keep you informed. We do have some good news to report about vaccination events. To date, we have successfully partnered with the Mecklenburg County Public Health Department, Novant Health, Atrium Health, and the Union County Health Department to promote COVID vaccine opportunities for our student-facing team members and those who are older, who are 65 or older. And several vaccination events were held or are planned to take place this week at sites in both Mecklenburg and Union counties. For example, this Saturday, February 27th, tomorrow, CMS is co-hosting an event with the Mecklenburg County Public Health at Metro School, specifically for CMS team members who directly serve our exceptional students. Also, this Saturday, McClinic Middle School and Novant Health will be co-hosting a second event for CMS team members, as well as other eligible community members. These two events provide approximately 1,500 appointments for our student-facing staff. And on Thursday, March 4th, next week, CMS Transportation and Mecklenburg County Public Health are looking forward to co-hosting 2 vaccination clinics at our Craig Avenue bus lot. These 2 clinics are strategically designed to accommodate our bus driver, bus monitor, cafeteria, and custodial team members' work schedules. We're excited about these opportunities and will continue to plan and promote even more vaccination events at both CMS and throughout our community. Now, I want to provide an update on summer learning and the work our academic team has been doing. Our team is coordinating with community partners and listening to family feedback to develop a summer program that will strengthen core learning and address unfinished instruction. The big questions they're focused on are how to identify the students with the greatest need, what subject areas will be top priority, and how will we ensure effectiveness in delivering this important program. And so as part of that work, we're looking at creative ways to incentivize the best and brightest teachers to join this effort and analyzing how we will support our students and families with the wraparound services needed to deliver the best possible experience. There will be more to come as we develop this important learning initiative. But finally, I want to end by saying that tonight is the first Friday of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association scheduled CMS varsity football game, and it comes with great news. This week, as you all know, Governor Cooper announced an increase in spectator capacity for high school sports venues. And so we're excited for the families of our student athletes to have more opportunities to attend games in person and see their student athletes take part in sports on the field or on the court. And so as a result of the governor's announcement, beginning March 1st, CMS will allow 500 spectators at each outdoor football game that's with 300 home guests and 200 visitors tickets available. Parents and families of student athletes will receive priority ticketing access from their schools. For indoor sports such as basketball, the attendance limit will increase beginning with playoff games tomorrow to 120 spectators. 80 tickets will be for home fans and 40 for visiting fans. This is in keeping with the North Carolina High School Athletic Association requirement that at least 1/3 of tickets be to visiting fans. Again, families of student athletes will have priority access to tickets before any remaining are made available for the general public. And so with that, I want to thank you all again for joining us today. It has been a pleasure speaking with each of you all each week to share district news and updates on our readiness to return to in-person learning. And now, if there are no other comments from members of the team, we will go ahead and open it up to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. We'll go ahead and get started. The first question is from Ann Helms, and then we have Tanya Mendes, Chandler Morgan to follow that. Ann?
Hi. So I believe you all have said that the return of in-person classes meant that high schools went from starting at 8 a.m. when everybody was virtual back to the dreaded 7:15 in the morning, which we all know teenagers love. And I'm hearing anecdotally that some teachers are saying that students are not doing that, that they are seeing a big drop in attendance for first period. Wondered if you all have any statistics on tardies or absences or anything anecdotally, and any strategies that you might have to convince your high school students that they really do need to log on at 7:15 in the morning.
So, Ann, thank you for that question. We do believe that early on in the week maybe have been impacted by the ACT testing, and that some of our high school students may have chosen to actually begin in person on and logging in specifically on Wednesday. We do also know that we have several of our students that have opted to not attend in person, but attend on a virtual format on the week that they're supposed to be in person. Schools are adjusting that. We plan today to pull the attendance data for this whole week, analyze that data as we once again prepare to look at what our future holds for our students and possibly increasing their frequency and time in person.
Thank you. Tanya?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for taking my question. I appreciate it. So I'm sure you all are privy to the data that we received this week that showed that course failures tripled for Black and Brown students. My question is threefold. Did remote learning fail certain groups of our students? Was this something that was foreseen? Did you know the numbers were going to be this bad? And will we see targeted mitigation strategies, perhaps at minority-majority schools? I know you're talking about kind of drilling down into what the mitigation is going to look like. Will we see some that's targeted specifically to minority students who didn't perform at the level that they were capable of performing?
I'll get us started with that particular question, and perhaps others will want to chime in. Thank you for that question, Tanya. What we have experienced is not unlike what other districts across the country have experienced. And so I want to be clear, we are all facing the same issues, and we're all trying to tackle these challenges that have come our way during the pandemic. And certainly while some students have struggled and have some unfinished learning as a result of the pandemic or as a result of being learning in a remote environment, I would also say that the pandemic itself has caused some of what we're seeing academically from our students. And so our program, our summer learning program, which we're excited to launch in a few months, and that we're still working to solidify, that will certainly be a step in the right direction to help address the unfinished learning of many of our students. And so we continue to work very hard to develop strategies. Our grading, our pandemic grading initiative was part of that effort, and we'll continue to do whatever we need to do to make sure that our students reach a level of mastery.
Chandler?
Hi, Superintendent. I had a quick question before my real question about clarification on the two events. If we could just get the numbers. So are you saying 1,500 each appointments for the Metro School event and then 1,500 for the McClintock event? And then how many appointments is going to be for the bus driving vaccination events? But my full question is CMS keeping up with how many teachers or employees are getting the COVID-19 vaccine?
I can answer the first part of that question. The 1,500 that the superintendent referenced in his opening remarks are through the two events, which is really more several days of events, but the McClintock event and the ones at the new East Mecklenburg site for Novant. Between those two opportunities over multiple days, it's about 1,500 total appointments for CMS student-facing staff. I'll have Christine or Monica address the rest of that question if they don't mind.
Sure, absolutely. So it's really going to be difficult for us to be able to track exactly how many of our employees take advantage of these opportunities, with the exception of the opportunities that are going to be co-hosted at CMS, and those events are for CMS staff only. So of course, after the fact, we would be able to share those numbers to share how many staff were able to take advantage of those opportunities. But many of the other events are either co-hosted in a way that allows other community members to also participate, or they're run and the sign up is through other entities. So for example, Union County Health Department, along with Atrium Health, are sponsoring events out in Union County that we have marketed directly to our employees because there are several spots available, but we wouldn't have a way in which to identify which of our employees went to that event to be able to sign up and get their vaccination. But yes, we would be able to provide some level of data, but across the board, that's really not something that would be possible for us to do. Plus, we have a lot of employees who are encouraged to get the vaccines and who have done so through their own providers or through other opportunities that are not necessarily sponsored by CMS or our partners. So there are clinics popping up, for example, at Walgreens, CVS. So that is not something that we would be able to track and provide information on, but data that we can, we will be happy to share.
Elsa Gillis.
Hi, thank you all. I wanted to actually piggyback off of Chandler's question. I just want to confirm the Metro School vaccination event and the Craig Ave bus lot vaccination event, those are specifically school staff only, correct? The other ones could be people from groups 1 and group 2. Do I have that right?
That is correct. And the 1,500 number that I shared, that we shared related to the Novant opportunities. The McClintock event is strictly for CMS staff. The East Mecklenburg, they have reserved approximately 300 slots per day for CMS student-facing staff via a unique link and phone number to sign up for those appointments. But that they will have other community members in those events. They just reserved for us 300 slots approximately per day.
Okay, so the McClintock Metro School and the Craig Ave bus location or bus lot, those are specific for CMS staff only.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And I see.
I wanted to add something to that,
Sure.
Specifically as it relates to McClintock. That particular event, as Patrick shared, it is designed for our CMS staff, but I want to say, and I want to make sure that the media understands that when there are additional spots available and we have community partnership agreements set up, then we certainly want to make sure that we invite other members in if we have slots available and we don't have any more employees signed up to take them. So sometimes even when there's events that are specifically designed for our staff, we still, in being good partners and good stewards and making sure that we reciprocate in terms of all these partnerships where we are getting a lot of help from our partners in providing the vaccines to our staff, that we do turn around and make those appointments available when we can if we're not able to fill them. And specifically at the Metro, I think we covered that, but we do have 300 appointments there specifically for our staff. And then at the transportation event, we actually have 2 different clinics, one that's going to be in the early part of the day and one in the afternoon for our school support staff. And I believe that is 250 total, but we're working on trying to get more if we can.
I see one hand raised. It looks like, Elsa, you have another question.
Sorry, same subject matter. So is there anything that we can do to like get the word out about these events, or are the slots already full? I'm just wondering if we should be alerting people from a perspective of letting them know that they can sign up for them.
I'll speak for communications here, and I'll say that we certainly appreciate any help that you would like to give us in getting the word out. But in the case of the events that came available this week with the partnership with Novant, those slots filled up quite quickly based on just one brief communication that we sent to all staff. So we certainly will reserve the right to reach out though, and appreciate that offer, and we'll certainly take you up on it as we get further into this process. Thank you, Elsa.
Yeah, and many of our the targeted events where we're trying to prioritize some of our student-facing staff who are working with some more of our compromised populations in terms of compromised immunity, or situations where face coverings sometimes are not always appropriate for the situation. We have prioritized those staff first. For example, EC staff, and then target events like we're doing for our school-based support staff. Those are specifically, I want to say, like by invitation only. So we're doing our best to market directly to those employees to respond. I do have some additional good news. This afternoon, we expect to be able to share with communications and all staff call out for another, and this is how it's literally happening. As soon as we find out about the information, we flip it around and we share it. So this one we think is going to be able to go out to all staff. It's another student-facing event, another opportunity over in Union County because they were able to access additional vaccines, like upward of over 1,000 that we're going to be sending out for opportunities that are coming up just this weekend. So that's going to be posted soon. It'll probably be out on our social media, so look for that.
And I think it's we can't say that enough. Great partners, Atrium and Mecklenburg County Public Health and Novant Health, and we're at the mercy of when our partners find out that they're going to get some additional doses of vaccine. That's how this process has worked until vaccine distribution becomes more readily available, then it's going to be how it is. And so as soon as we get that information, as Christine said, we turn it around. Our partners have been very good about making sure that we have ample opportunities when they get doses. They want to put shots in our student-facing staff's arms should they want that vaccine, and we know they do. Thank you, Elsa. Brett Jensen.
Hi, thanks. Ernest, real quick, I know statement in the press release. I'd like to hear from you, and I think the other media would as well. Can you just talk about the 4-year extension that you received and the fact that solidified the superintendent, which has been a revolving for the last decade for CMS?
Brett,
I think I heard most of the question, but not all of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you just talk about the fact that you've got the year extent will look to solidify the superintendent's role instead of the revolving door that has been with CMS for the last decade?
Sure. Well, thank you for the question, Brett. Well, I'm extremely humbled and grateful for the opportunity to serve this district that I love, that has been home for nearly 2 decades, where my wife and I have 2 children in the system. And so this is certainly an opportunity, as you mentioned, to provide stability longer term. But let me say, it's not about me. I have an incredible team, some of whom you see on this Zoom briefing. I cannot do this work alone. And so I want to be very clear about that. We have incredibly talented staff in our schoolhouses, our teachers, our principals, our support staff, outside of the schoolhouse, our bus drivers. And, we also have wonderful, amazing custodians, and our entire team is incredible. And so my point is, it takes more than one person to do this work and to do it well. And I'm just grateful to work with an incredible team and work with a Board of Education who has entrusted us with this incredible opportunity and privilege that we have to wake up every day and go to bed every night with on our minds with what is best for kids. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Chandler Morgan.
Hi, sorry, this is a follow-up question to my follow-up question. And all of the
Now,
slots for...
Chandler, I was counting. You had 2 questions last time.
I'm so sorry. This is just a quick follow-up. So all of the appointments for the bus transportation event, they are full. Is that what you said? Or are they not available yet?
You're talking about the vaccination event? We're in the process of sharing that with the staff who are eligible now. So we'll be able to report back on that shortly. It shouldn't be too much longer from now.
Okay, thank you.
We have about 5 minutes left. I see no hands raised. Are there any further questions?
If
Tanya Mendes has a question. And then Brett Jensen. Tanya dropped off. If she can get back in, then we'll go to Brett for now. Brett Jensen.
Thanks. Hopefully my connection's a little better. When March 10th happens and the rest of Group 3 opens up, do you think it would be, for lack of a better term, appropriate that each subset have their for occupation, just like you guys are doing, in terms of, restaurant employees only, and Harris Teeter people only, or whatever, and meat processing specifically to that type of occupation?
I can take this one, Brett. I'm not sure I heard it all, but I think you were asking, once Group 3 opens up, if each of the subgroups would be best served in their own individual groups. And I think it goes back to what Patrick was saying earlier. It's going to depend on the supply of vaccine, and also it depends on the number of people in those groups, because the vaccines we have right now are still requiring storage that requires specific temperature settings. We wouldn't be able to have a clinic for a really small group of people and effectively have enough vaccine available if we have to travel from place to place. So I think if the county has a large supply of vaccine, that they'll continue to do more events like they've been doing at Bojangles, where they can get a large number of people in and out in one location because they're set up, the logistics are there, and they don't have to worry about the temperature sensitivity of the vaccine.
Thank you. Tanya Mendez.
Hi, I'm just going to circle back on, I know I asked a three-parter, so Superintendent, you might have missed the middle part. Did you anticipate these numbers would be as bad as they were as they relate to the course failure rates? I recognize that every group, every grade level saw failures, but did you anticipate that Black and Brown students would struggle the way they did with these grades?
Well, Tanya, so thank you for circling back with that particular question. I don't think any of us have a crystal ball and could predict what you just described. I do think that, we understand that there were gaps that already existed. And this is not an excuse, but it's an acknowledgement of what we know is real in our district and across our country. There were gaps that existed between our students of color and other subgroups in our district. And so what this pandemic has done is widen those gaps. It's not something that we're proud of. And I've talked before that at least a portion of this is the fact that we have students whose families have struggled during the pandemic. And so for some of our students, they've had to prioritize other things to help support families. And again, that's just a reality. And so we continue to do all that we can, working with our partners across the community to make sure that our students and our families have the necessary supports that they have to meet their most basic needs, but also to achieve academically.
Thank you very much for that question. We'll wrap up this week's media briefing. I think before we do, however, I think Ms. Pajot had something that she wanted to share about some recruitment activity.
I do. Despite all of the challenges of this year, starting last March, so it's been about a year, we've done such an incredible job with our instructional staffing. And we continue to have teachers and other instructional support professionals who are just doing an outstanding job and who are really excited about coming back to in-person instruction, and even our teachers as well who are doing remote instruction. So with that said, we're always thinking ahead, right? We're thinking about next year, and we're already excited to announce the spring instructional job fair that's on the books. It's scheduled for Wednesday, April 21st. It's going to be an all virtual event. And what's really cool about that is that anybody who is interested can go onto our website now. They would have to go to the career page and then navigate to Teach at CMS, where you can find all the information. People will be able to pre-register for the event. We expect to have over 160 schools participating. So this is a fantastic opportunity to get in the door early. To be able to chat and upload your resume, chat with administrators at all of these different schools, to be considered for teaching jobs in the next school year. And this is not just for teachers, so it's for all instructional certified staff, which means our school psychologists, our school counselors, our social workers, media specialists. So please, for anybody who's listening, and this is where I know we got a question before about how the media can support us, please feel free to share that event. Share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues, because we have a lot of great opportunities for our fantastic kids at CMS coming up.
And we'll be sure from communications to share that with with those of you in the media. So thank you for that. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to the members of the media and other attendees who participated today.